Hi, I'm Matt Drewette-Card. I am the Director of Curriculum Instruction Assessment for MS-80 46, and today I am going to be reading Chapter 18 of Hank Zipser, the World's Greatest Underachiever in The Day of the Iguana, written by Henry Winkler and Lynn Oliver. So here we go with Chapter 18. We didn't have much time, but with Frankie back on the team, at least there was hope. We raced into the elevator and headed for my apartment. "Thanks for showing up," I said to him as we watched the floor numbers change above the elevator doors. "I owed it to you," said Frankie. "Why?" "I realized you got yourself into this mess for me. That's why you took that cable box apart, because you felt bad about screwing up the movie, and you never wanted that to happen again. Am I right?" "Yeah," I said. "And now look, I've screwed up again. Hank Zipser, world's greatest screw-up." "But we love you anyway," Ashley said. "Speak for yourself, Ashwina," Frankie said with a laugh. When we walked into my apartment, my dad and Emily were crawling around the floor on their hands and knees. They were looking under all the furniture and in the back of the bookcases. "We have a problem," Emily said. "Catherine is missing again." "So what's the problem?" I asked. "That is so not funny, Hank," said Emily. "I'm worried." "Maybe you just nuzzled her one time too many," I said. "Hank, this is important to Emily," my dad said. "Not everything is a joke." "You're right, Dad," I said. "Emily, I'm very sorry you have a missing iguana. Now, if you'll excuse us, we are going to my room. Come on, guys." We headed for my bedroom. Everyone except Robert, that is. "I'd help you look for her, but I'm allergic to dust," Robert said to Emily. "Actually, it's not the dust I'm allergic to, but the dust mites. They're tiny bugs that infect my sinus cavities, causing green mucus." "Robert, my man," Frankie said, "you're grossing us out." "Oh, I don't mind hearing about it," said Emily. "I get sinus congestion too." I tell you, Robert and Emily were made for each other. Two nose-blowing, iguana-loving peas in a pod. Robert followed us into my bedroom and closed the door. By then, I had pulled open the top drawer and was showing Frankie the pieces of the cable box. Frankie picked up two of the circuit boards. He laid them next to each other on the desktop and moved them around until they clicked into place. Then he did the same thing with two more pieces and attached a couple of wires. I had moved those pieces around for hours and nothing had happened. "Well, this isn't so bad, Zip," Frankie said. "I think old Humpty Dumpty can put this baby back together again." Frankie sat down at my desk to work. Ashley and I handed him the pieces one by one, and he put them together. Robert, his assistant, I have to admit, did a pretty good job. We were halfway finished assembling the box when I heard the door to my room being pushed open. I must not have closed it all the way. "Emily," I said without looking up, "the sign says private." "That's not Emily," Robert said. His voice sounded strange, kind of freaked out. I looked over toward the entrance, and I couldn't believe my eyes. A pair of my father's boxer shorts was opening the door and walking into my room. The underpants crossed my bedroom floor and disappeared under my bed. "Did you guys see what I saw?" Ashley said. "Mutant underwear," said Frankie. "It had legs." I scrunched down and looked under my bed. There were the underpants, lying inside the plastic shell of the cable box. Surrounding my father's boxers were a bunch of other objects. 3 cotton balls, one of my mom's furry slippers, a whole bunch of crumpled up toilet paper, and, I hate to say it, a pair of tighty-whitey ninja underpants that had once belonged to yours truly. I stuck my hand under the bed and tried to pull out the cable box so I could get a closer look. No sooner had I touched the box than a loud hissing filled the room. It was coming from my father's boxers. I'm not kidding. His underpants were hissing. A long gray tongue shot out from one of the leg holes of the boxers. "They're alive!" Ashley screamed. The tongue disappeared, then a snout came out, followed by a lizardy face. "Catherine," I said, "what are you doing in there?" Catherine tossed the boxers off her head and started pushing them under her body, where the other soft objects were. I reached out for Catherine, and she hissed at me like I was her worst enemy. "What's wrong with you?" I asked. "I'll get Emily. She'll know," Ashley said. Ashley returned in a second with Emily. "Close the door so Dad won't come in," I told Emily. I was standing in front of the cable box. I didn't want Emily to see what was going on until I could prepare her for the sight. "I have good news and bad news," I said to Emily. "The good news is we found Catherine. The bad news is we found Catherine." "Let me see her," Emily demanded. I stepped aside. She looked at Catherine, who was sitting in the cable box on top of the pile of underwear, cotton balls, slippers, and toilet paper. Emily stared at Catherine for a long while, and I couldn't tell if she was going to laugh or cry. Then she broke into a huge smile. "Do you know what this means?" she asked me. "Yes," I said. "Your lizard is having a nervous breakdown." "Catherine is trying to tell us something," Emily said. "What? That she wants to wear men's underwear?" "No, silly," said Emily. "I think Catherine is building a nest for her babies." I thought for sure my head was going to blow right off. "No, oh no, she isn't. No babies, not in my cable box," I said, getting a little panicked. "Hank, you're going to be a big brother." Emily was practically crying with joy. "And I'm going to be a big sister, aren't I, Kathy?" She reached out to give Catherine a nuzzle. Catherine hissed and showed her teeth. We should teach Emily to never touch an iguana in underpants. "She's going to be such a good mama," Emily said. "I want that lizard out of that box," I said. As a matter of fact, out of my room. "Come on, Catherine, you're going bye-bye." I reached for Catherine. She was just going to have to find another place to be pregnant. But when my hand got close to her, she hissed at me louder than before. That iguana meant business. "She can't be moved," said Emily. "She might even attack you." "Emily's right," said Ashley. "I've read that you can never come between a mother and her babies." "Well, everybody listen up," I said. "I do not, repeat, do not want a baby iguana hatching in my room." "You're not going to have one iguana," said Robert. Iguanas lay between 18 and 45 eggs at a time." I thought my ears were playing tricks on me. "Robert, are you telling me that Catherine could have 45 baby iguanas tucked away in those underpants?" "Yes," said Robert. "Isn't it a miracle?" said Emily. "A miracle? Has she lost whatever bit of mind she once had?" This was no miracle. This was a disaster. There you have it, Chapter 18 of Hank Zipser, the World's Greatest Underachiever, in Day of the Iguana. Enjoy the rest of the book.